this assassination attempt, um, particularly on the lives of US President Donald Trump and his cabinet colleagues. Who was the guy, or who was the guy, even as was the case in his previous case, that attempted assassination? It was done by, again, a single white or single man or young man. In his list, Kash Patel's name was missing. Other cabinet ministers who were present in that hotel for dinner, all their names were there. Namaskar. Friends, today I am going to share with you people my thoughts on a very important, I think important is the wrong word, I think a very dangerous trend that is affecting all our lives. In this context, I am going to talk about this, this assassination attempt, particularly on the lives of US President Donald Trump and his cabinet colleagues a few days ago there in a hotel in Washington, D.C. And then I'll be correlating that incident with what I said, this dangerous trend. But what this dangerous trend? I think let me keep you people little guessing. But let me first talk about this assassination attempt. This was the third major attempt at Mr. Trump's life, and he's a very lucky man. Last two attempts were when he was not the president, and I think he was I think 2 years ago, but then once on that electioneering he was having that thing, and then Pennsylvania, and then sometime later at Florida. But that's not important. Who was the guy, or who was the guy, even as was the case in his previous case, that attempted assassination? It was done by, again, a single white or single man or young man. And even in this case, which happened 2 days ago, that was also a single man. Single man in the sense we call it in that security parlance. Anybody who is familiar with the security issues will say that there is a term, it is called the lone wolf syndrome. Lone wolf syndrome means here it is definitely a terrorist act. Obviously, somebody is taking or trying to take your life means it is an act of terrorism. But when we talk of normally terrorism, then it is by a group. Then it is done through a group of men, and then there is always behind every such terrorist incident very systematic planning. But all these things are not there when one talk of this lone wolf syndrome. Here the attacker is invariably a very low profile man. He or she does everything alone, not necessarily linked with any terrorist group, or has nothing to do with any terrorist group. It is his own actions And in this particular case, you see, who was that guy? And that guy's name, I think his name is Cole Thomas Allen, if I'm not mistaken. And a very well-read chap in the sense that he's from California. And I think the very fact that he had done his engineering from California Institute of Technology, one of the most prestigious institutions, educational institutions in the US. He did his BTech there. As I said, that he was a mechanical engineer, and after that he did his master's in computer science, and then he's 31-year-old, and then the first job I think was do some part-time teaching and developing some sort of way. But the point that I'm trying to make is this: he is very well read by American standard and comes from a very decent family. But why did he really try to take the life of the American president and his cabinet colleagues? I think just before I came to office, I was reading New York Times. I think during interrogation, he has confided that he was trying to take the lives of perhaps Trump and many of his cabinet colleagues, except the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation Director, happens to be an Indian American. You must be knowing Kash Patel. His name was not there in that list. But I do not know whether with certainty the New York Times has reported that or not. I think perhaps what they tried to say is that in his list, Kash Patel's name was missing. Other cabinet ministers who were present in that hotel for dinner, all their names were there. So the point is this: this is the guy acting alone without any association whatsoever with any terrorist group, and is such a well-read man, young man, and trying to do this sort of thing that is, and this sort of incidents, as I said, that have taken place in other parts of the world, and that's why we call it this one individual such planned attack. Sometimes they succeed, sometimes they don't, but then these attacks are called the lone wolf attack, and that he could not succeed is altogether a different matter. My main point was that what sort of attack was this, and what sort of terrorist phenomenon is this. So the point that I'm trying to make is this: if a guy of this background is doing this, why he is doing this, or he did this, or people like that in similar cases, in those single wolf incidents, people do it because, as I said, a very dangerous trend. And what is the dangerous trend? They get radicalized through the social media. As I said, that dangerous trend, when I am talking of social media, how adversely it is affecting all our lives. That whether these days a kid of 3 years or a old man of say 80, 90 years, the time they spend in their mobile, even that's a different matter. You all know it, and it has positive features, and it has got many negative features. And what is that negative features? Because these social media these days, so much disinformation comes, and if you see this disinformation every day in your mobile phone, or in your laptop, or in your tablet, day after day, and that disinformation is full of hates against maybe a system, maybe an individual, and day in and day out, then you also get badly affected by it and you get radicalized in the process. This is called online radicalization. And this online radicalization, when it takes place, then as I said that lone wolf incident, like this guy Cole, they got radicalized. What he must have done day in and day out, he must have seen in the social media everything wrong about Donald Trump, that Trump is an evil, everything he does is bad, he must be thrown out of power. I think in a democracy, of course, earlier what was happening in a democracy, and that is how it should be, every system is based around that or based on it, that you go to the people and then it is a very peaceful transition of power. Every political contestants or all sorts of views are given chances or opportunities to be articulated, and the proponents of those views have no restriction whatsoever, free and peaceful exchange of ideas. And on the basis of this peaceful exchange of ideas, the elections take place, people campaign, so people vote, and then if you win, fine, and if you lose, then you respect that and you wait for the next election to again vote these people out. So that is what every democracy is all about. And there are, of course, legitimate occasions, legitimate issues everywhere. You can propose, you can dispose, you can criticize. But in the process, what is happening, thanks to this social media, this sort of information, the nefarious way of campaigning, the character assassinations, seeing evil in everything, see everything wrong with a particular person, with a particular minister or authority or the president or the prime minister, day in and day out, and you fall a victim to that dangerous trend, and then you get radicalized. That is through this online radicalization, and you in the process develop such hatred for or against some person that you decide to kill that guy. This is what precisely has happened, and in almost all the lone wolf incidents, these people get radicalized or falls victim to this process of online radicalization, and that is through all sorts of hate, all sorts of hates, character assassination. Many a case, these are disinformation, the falsehood, but day in, day out, you go on repeating them, you think they are the truth, and on the basis of that, you become rebellious and you think in terms of taking somebody's life. This is how the thing happened as far as this Mr. Cole is concerned. Why I am saying this, as I said, that more important than this more important or more significant for all of us than this incident is the lesson that we must learn. And what is that lesson? Let us not fall victim to this systematic attempts of online radicalization of our children, of our relatives, of our friends, and of all our citizens in a way. I must say that of all our citizens. Why you propose the way, and why I am particularly I am very particular about it is because the same thing is also happening here in India. You see, you get the social media, this sort of things, we see only hates against Modi. or and everything is wrong with him, everything, there is no place for minorities in this country, and they are not safe. Modi is a Hitler dictator, and 99% cases they think, and there is every institution is ruined, election commission is fraud, the judiciary is fraud. Everything is wrong. What some people say is right. Everything is wrong. In the process, what will happen? This, as it happened there in America, in the form of Mr. Cole, the same thing may happen here. Some of these our youngsters, and particularly the lone wolf, are usually these youngsters now. That again is a very dangerous phenomenon. As a security analyst, I am saying this. It is happening all over the world, and if it happens here in India, then that is going to be very, very unfortunate day. In the sense that if such lone wolves will be emerging amongst us against some people whom we do not like, whose policies we do not approve of, but we really develop these false narratives relating to them, in the process create so much hatred against the persons that we get tempted even to take the lives of the people we hate. And I think this is very dangerous, and this is the dangerous lesson that we must learn and take necessary actions. And there definitely is a strong case now for controlling this set of things emerging or being shared through the social media. Let me stop here. Thank you for listening to me with patience. Namaskar.